Good morning, everyone. Uh, we have about 3 more minutes before we're going to start. Winnie, good to meet you. I know
Good
it's
to
the
meet
time
you too, Paul.
difference. I know the time difference is not working quite well, but we want to set up a bridge between Australia, UK, United States. So we're practicing this format for the first time in a while. So hopefully we'll keep going with this and share the knowledge across continents eventually. So for everyone who's joining, thanks for being here, uh, and we'll welcome any questions. So at any point of our discussion, which probably will have about 30 minutes, at any point of your discussion, feel free to raise your personal questions, and Winnie will give you advices, etc. But obviously, hopefully, you will enjoy the context of our discussion. I can see some people connecting, some people emailing me now for the link. So guys, just so you know, the recording of this talk will be available on Ecommerce Camp UK website. So you can always watch this uh, after the show at any given time. You will get probably an email with the link, etc. We will have no slides. It's a live talk, so kind of enjoy the live conversation, and we'll we'll be happy if you ask any questions and stuff like that. Okay, I think it's 10 a.m., so we're gonna probably start. Um, Winnie, one more time, thanks you for being available. Um, and just wanna kind of, as a first brief, just like, could you introduce yourself a little bit more, in terms of how you start the business and your journey to where you are right now.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Paul. It's great to be here. And I guess just the journey kind of started with my dissatisfaction with my day job, right? So I believe it or not, I was an accountant in a past life, not so far away from today's life, but I was an accountant. And I was working in a Big Four firm, and I was working in a Big Four bank as well. And one day I decided to quit my job, not because the money wasn't good. It was very, very good, but I quit my job because I was deeply dissatisfied with the work that I was doing. I've always loved books. I always loved learning new things I always loved reading news stories, and it was a period of my life where I was trying to find myself. So I decided to quit my job and took a leap of faith to become a bookseller. Out of all things that one can do in the age of digital technology, so I became a bookseller, and I returned to university to study philosophy and literature. Those were the best days of my life, and one thing led to another, and one of the things that I was doing as part of trying to turn my passion for books into something a bit more than just a hobby or a job, right? I created this Instagram page called 1000 Libraries, and what I did was whenever I would go travel to a country, instead of going to the places that let's say if I go to Paris, a lot of people say you have to go see the Louvre Museum, you have to see the Eiffel Tower, and I did all that. I'm from Paris myself, but I loved visiting libraries and bookstores. And one thing, so those were the things that I would share on my Instagram account. And one thing led to another. I would share some pictures and collaborate with other creators and so on. And I started like everybody else with zero followers. But well, my first follower was my mum, which is always very supportive. But one thing to led to another, and now we are a full-blown global media company with over 25, currently 25 staff, but we hover between 25 to 40, including contractors from all around the world, and we've got about 1.6 million followers across all our social media channels now. So our mission, I was able to turn this into a business that takes my full-time commitment. So that's the story.
let's
Yeah.
let let's start from the very beginning, right? So you said, okay, I'm gonna start this. You follow my passion, and it was purely, I think, you did not even think about this as a business. It was more
Oh,
just to share,
yeah.
what you want, for the public. But I would say, because like there's tons of people with 700 followers, 5,000 followers, etc., right? And then like my wife, for example, she cannot kind of move it, right? So my question for you, like when you started, it's been kind of, I think, how many years ago?
The Instagram page, I think 2020.
Hmm.
So 5 years now.
5 years now. And
Yeah,
algorithms of the Instagram probably played in a different way than it is right now. So if you remember this journey, like
yeah.
when you start creating this type of content and publish this type of content, do you remember what type of post you like? Was that the like images, the videos? Have you used like any reels and stuff like that? What was the content that started the journey? Because once you have 200,000 people, it's probably more easy, or maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's more easy to go to 500,000. The very first 50K of the followers, what was the like? How did you get them? Did you put the
Yeah,
money in? Have you promoted your post? If you don't mind, just to describe that a little bit more.
yeah, and look, everything has been an organic growth all the way to 1.1 million followers on Instagram. And so what happened in the early days, I don't think there's necessarily a type of, whether it is reels, whether it is photos, whether it is carousels. I think, back then, photos were the dominant kind of type of content on Instagram, and then reels started creeping in, and so I started with with photos, and I think that the trick to grow from zero to a few thousand is really to kind of, there's no secret sauce, right? There's no, it's really no secret. You just have to find something that people like and build somehow, you know, build that community. And it's not enough just to post every day. What I did was I was posting one piece of content every day, right? Every single day for ages, right? But I think what really differentiated the growth of 1,000 libraries with other pages was I was reacting to every single comment. I was re actively reaching out to other creators and trying to make friends online and trying to be part of a community, right? And I think that's what kind of made the difference, right? Being, trying to make friends with other people and asking them, hey, I would share the content, they would share my content, and so on and so on. And over time, things compound, and one person shares a piece of content, and another one shares it, and another one shares it, and that's how things go viral, right? So that's what that's how I did it. This was never meant to be a business, and I don't even see it as a business in the first place. I see it as a community. I see it as something that my team works really hard for to provide value to our community and to essentially try to inspire people to keep libraries and bookstores alive in the age of digital technology, but also to read more books and to really keep that side of humanity alive. And I think, once when you do this from a very genuine and authentic place, it doesn't really matter what type of content, whether it's reels or photos or carousels or stories or whatever. It just once it connects with your people, right? There's other people that are going to come along in this journey, and but I must also say that I was very lucky, I guess very lucky in a way, because when I started doing this, it was the pandemic. It was just the start of the pandemic, and a lot of people were spending a lot of time online. And the reason why I started this in the first place was because we all know how social media is, right? We see a lot of crap on social media, a lot of stuff that is completely irrelevant to the way we live, our own values, and so on. And what I was hoping to do is to provide this breath of fresh air on social media for book lovers, and to help them look forward to potentially traveling again soon while we're all in lockdown, and to go visit libraries and bookstores and I wanted them to learn the stories behind those places and be curious about this side of humanity and the world and history. So, the pandemic was, I guess, in a way, very good for the growth of our following base because a lot of people stayed in and was spending a lot of time on their phones. And I think what led to our account going kind of viral to some extent was because it was just different. You know what I mean? It was just no one's ever done s- this type of content on Instagram before, and then gathering all the most beautiful book places and libraries and bookstores in one place, in one Instagram account. So that's essentially how I started, and things haven't changed, Paul, until now,
Hmm.
right? I still see the same. It's the same mission, it's the same format, it's the same, we do exactly the same thing. And at the core of this mission is really to provide as much value as possible to this community and making sure that these that books and bookstores and libraries can thrive in our age of digital technology.
So the question that I have here, so you said it was all organic, no ads, and even right now
Hmm.
you're not boosting your post at all, like
No.
zero. It's so like that, right? So question that I have in this case, uh, if I would start myself, I definitely live in a
Hmm.
specific city. Like I live now in Chester, and there's only one library over here. If I were posting the same content about one single library, how I can get so tell me how did you get this? I can imagine you're in a lockdown in Australia, I assume, and then how did you get all this content then? How did you get the content
Yeah.
like one photo at a time? What type of collaboration you've done? Could you
Yeah,
could you can share more? What's the steps? How do you get it? Like, what's DM
of
messages to
course.
people or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing about, when you're a content creator, you run out of content very quickly, right? And I never saw 1000 libraries as a personal kind of thing. It's always been a community. It's always been, so how I started was I started posting photos of libraries and bookstores that I had taken during all my travels, right? They were always sitting in my camera roll on my iPhone, and I just started posting them. And very quickly, I realized that I didn't have enough content to post every day. So I would reach out to other creators and say, hey, I've got this many followers. Do you want me to repost it? And they'll be like, yeah, it's sweet. Everyone wants a bigger audience. So that's what we ended up doing. It's always been about showcasing and promoting other people's work, whether it is someone that's built a beautiful library or someone that's opened a beautiful bookstore, or someone that's taken those photos and those videos of beautiful places. It's always been about and that's why I'm so proud of 1000 Libraries. It's never about me. If you look at the Instagram account, I'm not an influencer. I don't. I'm never on the account, and that's not me. I'm a huge introvert. And I don't like to be in front of a camera, except for today. Make an exception for you, Paul. But it's. Yeah, it's just not me. I like my privacy, and I don't like to be in front of a camera. I don't have the influencer kind of the psychological background and personality. And so how I ended up doing it was I would promote other people's work, right? And what made it very special was, and I didn't know that at the time, was the way that I would curate content. That's how I kind of people were really interested in, because I would have, you know, a beautiful library in Rio de Janeiro, and then the next one would be the next another beautiful library, and people couldn't believe that there were so many beautiful libraries in the world. So they were like, "Hey, how do you know all these beautiful libraries and bookstores? I didn't even know that they existed, right?" And so I, you know. I built this huge amount of knowledge about all these places, and built relationships with all these places, and creators, and so on and so on. And my job has always been to, you know, um, bring those kind of hidden gems to the general public, right? But also promote the work of other creators that have put them in the spotlight, and try to amplify everyone's kind of reach via using the 1000 Libraries platform. So I guess that's kind of how I turned this into a personal blog. I turned this personal blog into a media company that was um looking for stories from all corners of the internet, obscure stories that no one even heard of, and then bringing them to the general public, to make sure that those stories have as much amplification and as much exposure as possible. And I spend a huge amount of time reading, and whether it is on print or on the internet. And I like to spend a lot of time on Reddit as well, and I find, I like this niche of traveling to countries, and visiting bookstores and libraries. I guess what 1000 Libraries has done very well is to make that not so much a niche anymore, but available to the general public.
To go a little bit more about this influencer stuff. So I know there's a bunch of the platforms right now when you can pick up an influencer and then you pay them the money and they kind of do stuff for you. And a lot of brands, from what I know, they are not happy with this channel because this influencer basically burning out the audiences, showing the different things, etc. So what you said, you basically yourself, you went to the Instagram, you start searching for the library content, you find out like someone with, I don't know, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, and you just message him direct, like DM message, saying, guys, can I promote your content on my audience? That's how you just did this. So by utilizing content produced by someone else, just putting this, centralize this into one single channel.
Exactly right. And I think,
Mm-hmm,
let's say, if, Paul, you have 5,000 followers,
mm-hmm.
and I believe that you deserve to have a lot more, because your content is amazing. You spend a lot of time, but you're somehow limited by the Instagram algorithm that is essentially, for some reason, not giving you as much exposure as possible. Um, that's what we do at 1000 Libraries. We get people to tag us, right? To tag us, hey, tag 1000 Libraries to be featured. And then we repost the content, to make sure that your content has as much exposure as possible, because we have this huge platform of book lovers. Then that give you a way to get get more engagement on your content, but also more followers and more fans and potentially more customers in the future as well. So, but also we work with a lot of, directly with libraries and bookstores. Um, so, they have their own photos and libraries and stories that they want to promote as well. So it's the way we curate, we create content and curate pictures and photos and videos is very, very diverse. We look at a lot of different sources. Some of them we have commissioned a lot of videos and pictures that are featured on 1000 Libraries as well. But at the start it was very difficult to do that during the pandemic. So what we were doing was we're essentially helping other creators to get more exposure on the content. And it was a win-win situation for everybody. It was a win for them, win for us, win for libraries, win for bookstores, and win for book lovers in general,
Um, since it's a live talk, there is a question for you. How many videos, photos should we be posting on our socials on a daily basis?
How many videos per day?
Yeah, and for all photos per day. Yeah.
Just we do one piece of content per day, and that's already a lot of work. I think, it's there's one thing that needs to be addressed in social media is creator burnout, right? I think, um, creating content more, a lot of content and posting them every day is extremely tiring. And I see it all the time with content creators that we work with. And, some people do that, they post every day, and sometimes we see them just disappear for a few months because they've burnt out and they're just too tired to do this kind of stuff. A lot of them are, a lot of creators are doing this on top of their full-time jobs as well. So it's very, very difficult, and I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to that. Everyone either runs their own businesses or have jobs, but they have this dream of, creating this side thing, whether it is monetized or not. They just want to to do something else, something that's aligns with their passions, interests, and values. But the problem with the Instagram algorithm is that there's the model um, benefits the ones that are posting a lot, right? That are posting more and more and more and more. And what is important to know is that it's not about posting more every day. I think being um posting frequently, whether it is once a day, once every 2 days, or even once a week, as long as the content resonates with people, I think that's the most important thing. Having this, schedule, yes, I think it's really important for the algorithm to see that you're serious about content creation and that you post very regularly, right? But I think the most important thing is the quality of content as opposed to the quantity. And and I think, content itself, um, the content itself, it's very easily, it's easy to see whether it resonates with people with the number of likes. So yeah, I wouldn't think that there is a magic number to be posting every day. I think it's more a matter of doing it regularly, and posting high quality content.
So in the most recent post that you have right now, can you disclose what's the percentage of the organic reach you have? So let's say 1 million people,
Yeah.
subscribers.
Recently we did, I think we did, what did we do? We did a guide to the most beautiful book hotels. So get this, right? There are hotels out there that are literary hotels where they have a beautiful library in it, and they have a kind of a literature kind of theme to them. And we did a list of that, and I think we got, something like over 10,000 likes. I don't remember the reach exactly. To be honest, I don't look at that myself now. So you'll have to ask my team about this. But we don't even care about reach or about likes anymore. And we just post every day, and we just know that, some days we're going to get less likes. Some days we're going to get more likes. And if you think of reach or likes as a metric to influence, what you should, how much you should be posting, or what kind of content you should be posting. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think posting what you think is valuable to yourself and to your niche, that's what's most important. But making decisions based on the metrics that you can see on Instagram is probably not the best, because Instagram is, the algorithm is not, I wouldn't say it's, it's a fair algorithm, right? It's just, sometimes something might go viral for absolutely no reason, right? And I think that the most important thing is to believe that your content is valuable, and then just keep posting, regardless if you get very little reach, right? I think that, putting it out there and testing, and seeing whether, it resonates with your followers, and whether it gets to their phones in the first place. Because, you might have followers and you might post something, but the content might not even reach their phones for some reason, and that's the algorithm. We're just limited by Meta's algorithm. But it's, at the end of the day, I do believe in not caring so much about metrics, and really caring about intuition. What is you think is valuable to your audience, and that's, I think it's worked pretty well for us so far. So yeah.
So the question here from our audience, should we be using a hashtags in our posts? And if yes, how many hashtags should we be using? Is the
Yeah,
more better?
that is such a great question, and I get that question a lot. And it's Facebook. I think Facebook and Instagram are trying to get rid of the hashtags altogether. I think, it's there was an interview by a Facebook executive that said, "Oh, if you're using hashtags, that was so yesterday," kind of thing, and essentially that it doesn't really matter that much anymore. I think hashtags are being phased away from most social media places. If you look at tweets, if you look at all platforms, essentially most people don't use that much hashtags anymore. It's more like tag words, or and so what we do now is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, our team, is directive is not to use hashtags anymore. So we don't do that. Yeah, that's not something that we actively do, but I do remember that a few years ago, hashtags were everything. You had to, the more hashtags you put into your captions, the more engagement you would get, right? And that's the thing, and that's a lesson right there, about social media engagement and social media growth, and more particularly the algorithm, because the algorithm changes all the time. It's not something that, the advice that I had, that I would receive or and give to other people 2 years ago, or even last year, right, would be completely irrelevant in today. And and that's the thing about social media, and that's the reason why I don't advocate about to post, a certain amount of times per day, or to look at metrics, and to see it as a machine to get as much engagement as possible. I see it as a window to your interests, right? And the more real you are, the more, I think, the more somehow the algorithm will pick it up. Eventually, it will see that, okay, this guy's doing something interesting. It's getting some really good engagement, and I, I have a feeling that this. people at Meta that have this button where they see a piece of content and they think that it's good content and they push go viral, right? And then it somehow it just it just it is somehow showing on everyone's phones and so it's hashtags I think are not as useful as they used to be. But I think that using one or two per post is could be useful when starting out. Just to be able to be part of like a larger kind of community, like hashtag bookstores, hashtag libraries, so and so on. That's the ones that we used very early on.
Tell me, do you have a professional videographer or photographer in your company?
Yeah, not full time, but we have a lot of contractors that go out there to all types of libraries and bookstores and
Uh,
to interview people who are creating content for us.
hmm. Okay, okay. So in terms of the growth, do you see like when did you realize that the community is growing? Was it just like, sometimes it's like if you went on the TV and then suddenly, boom, you have like 100,000 of new followers. What about you? Was it that day or it was like a slow, slow, slow grow all the time?
Yeah, that's a great question, and essentially it was very rapid from the start, I would say. I think, from 0 to 100, it was very extremely slow, right? So the first few weeks when I started that. That page, I would post every single day, for a week, and then after 2 weeks we got to like 50, I think, and then yeah, and then after that, from 50 to 100, it was still very, very slow. And that's why I advocate for just posting regardless of what kind of likes you get or engagement you get, because I kept doing it, and then for some reason one of the posts went kind of viral. So we went from like I think from 100 to 1000. That was very quick, right? So someone shared one piece of content that just went all around the book lovers community, and then from then to 10,000 was even quicker. Like that happened in like a matter of like 2 weeks or something, right? It was so quick. And our engagement was incredibly high as well. Like when we grew very quickly, so high. And I think I think we started growing very, very, very steadily over the years. Now, I mean, when I say we, it was just me at the time. It was just a personal project. But when I got to 500,000 followers, what made it double very quickly was when I was invited on national TV to talk about 1,000 libraries. So I was invited a few times on national TV here in Australia, and over 50 interviews all throughout radio, digital media, and that kind of like took it to the next level and doubled our followers count very quickly to 1 million, and now we're at 1.180 or something. So that's how it kind of looked like. The start was extremely slow, but then once people saw that there was nothing like this around, and that was the content was unique and the curation was absolutely was fantastic, and that we um tried our best to not make it about I didn't try to make it about myself. I made it about all these other places and other creators. People could see that that was something that they would want to follow and follow actively and engage with actively over time. And our followers dropout rate is very, very low as well. People love staying followers of our account, and now we've transitioned from just being an Instagram page to a full-blown media company. So we're on all social media networks, from Facebook, TikTok, a bit of on YouTube threads and so on and so on. But we've got an online magazine and we publish books as well now. So yeah.
How long do you think it will take now the brand who's already with 100,000 of followers to get into the 1 million? Or maybe you tell me in your case how long that took for you.
Yeah. From 100,000 to 1 million.
Yeah.
Uh, that's the thing, Paul, about social media. You can never tell. It could take one day, right? One viral piece of content could take to your followers count from literally a few hundred to 1 million straight away, right? It's been seen before, like Cristiano Ronaldo created his YouTube channel, and then within one day he had 10 million followers, right? So obviously we're not all very famous footballers, but it's the social media has this power of being able to take someone who has something to share with the world, right? And somehow, um, somehow, um, social media not only allows for people to become famous. And fame is not, for some people it is the end goal, but it's also to find their people, to find the community, right? And the thing is, the silliest kind of post or silliest kind of video could get you to 1 million followers very easily. So it's very hard for me to answer that question. But I think that the best way to, if I do think that having a good social media manager, right? If your brand, having a good social media manager is probably even more important than anything else, right? In this day and age, building community on social media is perhaps one of the most important things that one can do in terms of business. To build a community around your brand, around your values, is so important. And then once I've seen brands like Domino's Pizza hiring great social media managers that really connect with their audiences, and they get tons, incredibly high engagement. And um, for brands, I think that, having a good social media manager and having them, create content for a year. I think within a year you can get to 1 million if you get the right social media manager. But for a creator, unfortunately, it takes a few years. If you were if one was to go traditionally about it with no viral posts, it could take a year, 2 years. But you never know. Social media um, rewards the bold, and rewards new things, and more importantly, I think it rewards it these days, especially it rewards creativity and uniqueness, right? So that's why I try to encourage everyone that I know that have things to share, to do it on social media, because it's very easy to go from zero to like a few 100,000 very quickly if someone has something unique to share.
So basically, in a nutshell, about you would not be surprised that from 100K to 1 million, it take at least 1 year to get there.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
it's
That's a
almost optimistic.
benchmark. It's just like a
Yeah,
benchmark. I want to know
yeah,
numbers. I'm the type of guy. So let
yeah,
me
yeah,
ask
of
you this.
course,
So let me ask you this, right? So let me tell you this. Obviously, Instagram followers not paying your bill, right? Not paying your rent,
of
not
course,
paying anything. Let's
of
talk about
course.
monetization. How do you monetize? I mean, I know obviously because we were working with you as e-commerce partners, right? Let's talk about this a little bit more with the people who will be watching this video. How do you monetize?
I don't think it's about monetization. I don't like that word, to be honest. It's not really. Um, uh, I see it more as creating something that the community will love and will be willing to pay for, right? Like now you get a lot of creators saying, "Oh, buy my course." They build a so-called community, but really they build an audience, right? They build an audience, they create a lot of free content out there, one day they just drop and say, "Hey, the buy my course or join my club or this and that," right? I mean, it might work with some people, but I find that almost misleading, to be honest, to actually start a community for the end goal of having, of monetizing it. And that's why I hate this word. I couldn't hate it more, because it's just it puts people as numbers, right? And that's what people get wrong about building community on social media. It's not about numbers. Like I said before, I don't care about engagement. I don't care about likes. I don't care about none of that stuff. All I care about is I know that I have something good to share. I have something that is so interesting. I'm gonna put it out there. If I get 0 likes, I don't even care, because to me that was valuable, and maybe sometime later someone's going to find it and find it useful, and then maybe it might go viral in 2 years, you know what I mean? But the I think the way that 1000 libraries became more than just a personal project is I've always wanted to publish a book, right? And I always wanted to, I never saw, there's this quote that says, and I can't remember exactly who actually said it or wrote it. It said that if you can't, um, um, if you think of a book, you have an idea about a book and an idea, and you can't find it, you can't find anything about that. You're meant to write it yourself, right? You have a responsibility to humanity to actually put it out there, right? And that's what I did. I couldn't find a book. That took people on a journey to discover beautiful libraries and bookstores from all around the world, and I knew so much about it, and I had visited so many of them, right? And I was like, okay, um, how how wonderful would it be to have a beautiful coffee table book with all these beautiful places that took and that helped people discover all these places, and essentially that became like the most prized possessions on their coffee tables. And I did that. I had $10,000 to my name, and I created a prototype. And get this, right? I created a prototype, and I went to pitch to publishing houses. And what's that was my dream, to be to publish something, and one of them from the big five publishing houses um, got back to me. We had a meeting. They offered me $50,000 advance to create this book. Right? They knew that I had 500,000 followers, and they were like, "Oh, you can probably promote it to your followers and so on." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I can, but okay, so $50,000, that's a dream. What's the catch? Like, and they were like, there's no catch, well, we're going to help you, we're going to support you, we're going to take care of distribution, about production, design, and everything. All you have to do is just create the book and write it, and then license the photos and so on and so on, and take some pictures, and make the book, essentially create a beautiful book. That's all you have to do, Vinny. And so the catch that I had later found out when I read the fine print was that the royalties were 5%. And I was like, okay, so I have 500,000 followers, and I'm sure that's, I don't even want all of them to support me, but I'm sure that some of them will, and they're good friends of mine that I have been, that I have engaged with our content a lot, and that we would, reply to the comments all the time, and essentially friends, right, in this community. And I decided to respectfully say no and to create a Kickstarter campaign. I needed $50,000 um, to create this book, to self-publish it, and which was very difficult. But all I needed was $50,000, and I shortly enough, I went to my Instagram community, and I finally introduced myself. And the Kickstarter campaign was meant to be 30-day long, and I didn't think it would work, to be honest. But I just thought I'd give it a crack, and within 3 days, only 3 days, I received $50,000 in community support. And at the end of the 30-day campaign, I received 5 times that, $250,000. That's when I knew that 1,000 libraries was a lot more than just a personal blog, and that it could delight people, in terms of not just online content, but physical products as well, and that people could trust my creative direction and could trust my words, and my ability to essentially take beautiful kind of um, editorial direction into a creative direction for physical products as well. And so this book now is being independently published and distributed by 1,000 libraries. And not only that, 50% of the profits from this book and all our other products are actually donated, and invested as well to build school libraries in third world countries. So last year we actually, from my own hands as well, and the hands of 20 wonderful volunteers, we actually went to Laos, one of the poorest countries in the world, to build the school libraries there, and donate thousands and thousands of books. So that's something that I'm very, very proud of. And that's why, I don't think monetization is the right way to think about it, or and to think about anything related to making money out of a social media community. I think I don't know what the right word is, but I think it's about treating followers as humans, as friends, as community members, and really, before putting a product out there, is to really kind of try to let show them who you are, what you care about, and creating beautiful things, not just something that smells like some sort of scam, right? So creating something truly beautiful that doesn't exist in this world. And I can guarantee you that if you do that, if you treat people with respect, and that you have the creative power to put something unique out there, people are going to support you financially, and it can take, if it was just me at the start, and now we're 25 to 40 people strong in the 1,000 libraries team. So it's possible to do something that is that makes, that is financially sustainable, but also to give back to the community as well.
That's awesome story. 250 from Kickstarter campaign in 1 month. That's
Yeah,
a lot of people I'm talking about, that they have passion about the idea, but they don't have a capital to start. So I think this
yeah.
could be a part of the different conversation, how to launch the Kickstarter campaign that will be successful. But obviously, it's all connected with the community, like you said. So now, like for everyone who will be watching this, what's the URL? How can they explore and get this book if they want to?
You can go to publishing.1000libraries.com. We've actually got two different books now. So publishing.1000libraries.com, that's where our Shopify store, we use Shopify as a e-commerce partner. And the funny thing is that these books are actually selling out all the time. So we every time we print, we do a run, they're selling out straight away. So currently we're in another pre-order campaign that is dropping in September, October.
So you don't even produce the books until you get the orders. So you run
Nah,
pre-order.
yeah, so no, we do. So currently they're being printed again, and but the way that we ended up making sure that we have enough copies for everybody is to start a pre-order campaign early, right? Because as soon as we learned that from before, is that when we open orders again, we restocked open orders, they sold out within a few, I think 2 weeks or something, right? And we're like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? Okay, so this time we need to order a pre-order. If you want it, we'll give you a discount, and then you can pre-order for September, October delivery. They're currently being printed, and so there's I'm not a fan of taking pre-orders before doing anything. It's I think people trust you with their own money, their hard-earned money, right? So it's really important to I think for me anyway, to make sure that the products are actually being produced. And it's I think so we currently in July, August, September, so three months now until the books actually arrive at the destination. So, but I have a feeling we're going to sell out again even before. That's happened to us last time. We actually sold out before actually the we received the books. We're like, oh, we can't take any more orders. Sorry, guys. And so that's how popular these books are at the moment.
Probably my last question right now. With the other social networks booming out, etc., like TikTok and things like that, if you would start from scratch just now, would
Yeah,
you still bet on Instagram or TikTok? And what's your opinion on our social media and how to, me as a brand, if I'm starting over,
yeah,
how to pick up the right platform for my brand? What would that be?
yeah. Uh, I always think that social media really depends um on the platform anyway. The way someone should choose a platform to focus on depends on the personality, your personality, and your audience essentially, right? I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now on LinkedIn. It wouldn't make sense, I mean, LinkedIn is good for B2B, and I personally you know uh, think that for my content, because it's very visually striking, Instagram is the best way to do it. It was after all, it was a photography app, right? So that's I think from things that are very visual, I think Instagram is the best. Um, and if I was to start again with the same type of content, I'll start on Instagram as well. But it really depends on what kind of content you want to put out there, and depending on that, if it's videos about yourself, lifestyle stuff or silly stuff, TikTok is really good, and but I've got well, Instagram's been really good to us. Meta, we work very closely with the team at Meta as well. And with we're very happy to work on those platforms. But one thing that I would like to focus a bit more is on TikTok, because there's a lot of younger people there, and and I'd love to inspire a love of reading to the younger generation as well. And there's a lot of obviously the demographic is a lot younger on TikTok, so I think that's another mission that we could get onto with our editorial team and content creation team, and to expand our demographic and try to have a positive impact on the younger generation on TikTok as well.
I think when we started to work with you as part of Mage Cloud Agency on this project, I said that I love the mission of get all those youngsters back into the libraries rather than social media. So, and to do that, you have to go to social media to grab the attention of those audience and just move them back to read something. So that's really wonderful, man. So I think probably the last question that I have here, like exclusively for e-commerce, right, is publishing. So which channels, aside from organic reach on Instagram, etc., is there any other channels that you utilizing to promote this, to get more exposure and stuff like that? What's your top three channel?
Um, Social media is the number one for sure.
Hmm.
But we're looking at a bit more into email marketing lately, and I hate the word marketing as well, because I don't really see it as marketing. I think what we're trying to do with our emails is that to really build a relationship with our subscribers, with our email subscribers audience, right? And more than an audience, I think more of a community, because here's the thing about 1000 libraries is that we receive DMs and emails every single day from our community saying, we love what you do, please continue doing it. Hey, I've got some suggestions. Hey, this and that and this and that. Every single day we receive those messages from the community that are essentially helping us not only to keep going and to validate that we actually doing something positive for the world, but also if we take feedback on board, and we look at every single person that takes the time to email us and to DM us as a essentially a blessing. That it's not every day that you can get feedback on what you do, thankfully we do get that at 1000 libraries. So with our email subscribers, we everything that they suggest, whether it is, oh, Vinny, I would love to have a travel guide for Barcelona, right? I'm going to Barcelona next month, and I would love to visit some bookstores there. Can you please create a guide? And we're like, yeah, done, you've got it. Like, we always wanted to do it anyway, so we'll do it. We'll reach out to the community, and would ask, hey, do anyone know like the best bookstores in Barcelona? We've got a list, but do you want to add to it? And it becomes a community thing, it becomes like a collaborative thing. And that's what we've been doing as well, is to build not only social media, but some people don't like to stay on social media too much. They like to receive their content on emails, and then they like to just read stuff, long form content, right? So we've been working on that as well to provide the type of content that other people might find useful, the long form stuff. And that comes with this particular demographic. They're usually a little bit older, and we tend to focus on they like to use email, and some of our book sales come from emails as well. Sometimes we have a special offer, and then we'll put it out there, and let's say a Mother's Day's offer, or something like that, and so that, I guess, that's another channel that we would tend to use. But a lot of it, I like to think that a lot of our the way we sustain 1000 libraries financially is organic. So social media and emails are pretty good for us.
I think probably the last, because we're already more than like it's a good discussion. Like I was expecting this done in 30 minutes, and we keep going this. Um, give me feedback about working with Mage Cloud Agency. Why you pick up us in
Yeah.
3 minutes, and how do you feel, man?
Yeah, no, it's been great, Paul. Like I said in the past, it's been wonderful to work with you. I think you're just a pleasure to work with as a person, and you're very honest. I think that's what I loved about you. And I think you know we when we were growing our websites, or when building our own websites, we had a lot of trouble initially because we had no money, right? I mean, like most of the money that came through, I think we barely made any money from our first print run, or like it was actually a loss. We're at a loss, right? And I can't even remember how we survived this at the start. But we were trying, I was trying actually to build that website myself, essentially, but built it myself. And I asked favors from right, left, center to go, hey man, can you create this piece of code? Can you do this, do that, do this? And that website ended up looking fantastic. And that's why people I think they trust my creative vision because, if I'm good at something, I'm not good at a lot of things, but if I'm good at something, it's at making things beautiful, right? And so that website at the start was really good. We started on Webflow, e-commerce, because it just had a good template that I wanted to use. I couldn't afford a full-blown custom website from the start, right? So I saw this template and I could see, oh, I'm gonna make it like this, that, this, that. And then we tweaked it around and added a few things here and there. And then when it was time to move to Shopify, we're like, oh man, that's how we're gonna do this. So same thing, I asked a few favors and we managed to move it across to Shopify. And then they had, as we were starting to add more products, like a second book, and we had a bit more funds, right? And I just didn't have it. I spoke to a lot of people on Upwork and Fiverr, and as you do when you don't have a lot of money and you're trying to keep things cheap. And because I mean I'll never see 1,000 libraries as the financial success of it, if there's any success, because we donate a lot of our money. But I never see it as mine. And I always think, okay, like, man, if I have $1, I better get the most out of this, when it comes to building something new. And so that we can give as much away to the community, and provide value to everybody. But I think it's at some point I was looking at Fiverr freelancers and Upwork freelancers, and we would have so many headaches with working with them. Just language barrier, time zone barriers, and at some point, I was like, you know what, stuff this, let's find someone good, that has a lot of experience and that's worked with a lot of brands and companies out there, and whatever they ask, let's just pay it and let's get it done. Because working on a website for months, and going back and forth is so much energy spent for nothing. So when I found you, I think it was, I just, when I had a chat with you, I trusted you from day one. You didn't charge anything from our consultation. You didn't, you were very honest from the start. So I was like, Paul, I know that what you're going to charge me, I know it's going to be fair, and just do what you got to do. And all I ask is for no headaches, and that's what happened. So I think, now you've become our go-to kind of Shopify developer, and I don't think I would trust anybody else.
Man, so I'm really happy to support the project in general. What you said about your donations and the libraries, man, I was just about to cry about Ukraine as well. So hopefully one day we'll do some project over there together, right?
Sounds
So,
good, man.
man,
Yeah, that sounds very good.
I appreciate your time. I know it's late, so it was pleasure to see you. one more time face to face. Good to you are the first guest over the while, so being the first one, not on the Instagram, but even over here. Hopefully, you'll join our community. Hopefully, I will see you one day on e-commerce camp in the UK.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Pleasure.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Um,